Hey guys, it's Whitney from the Holiday Homestead. I wanted to show you guys, I guess, the second part of how to harvest quinoa, or how to grow quinoa, which is the second part is how to harvest quinoa. So we grow quinoa on our property for grain for ourselves and also for our animals. We feed it to our chickens, our goats. We just recently got pigs, and so we feed it to them as well. The whole plant basically is edible. Everything from obviously the grain berries, the leaves, the stems, everything. Let's see here. So we have right here what I've been working on all day. I've already done that row over there, that one there, and now we're working on this one. So this is just our quinoa that's ready to go. And so when it's ready, it looks a little bit, I think it looks kind of just full. It's hard to describe, but basically it just looks very round and kind of bubbly, like popcorn kind of. Also, if you look really closely, you can see the little grain berries are kind of held by this little claw kind of a flower head. And once that flower head dries, when you dry it, it releases the berry and it comes right off. So anyway, so what I'm doing today is cutting and turning everything upside down, hanging it, and drying it. And then in a couple of days, I'll come back, especially if it stays like it is right now. It's about 97 degrees, I think, today, and kind of a little bit breezy. If it stays kind of like this, it should be ready in a couple of days, and it'll be dry. And actually, I have some that I did a couple of days ago, so I'll show you that as well once we get to that point. So the first thing, of course, is to cut the quinoa. So I'm going to cut it. You kind of just hold it back like this, and you just cut kind of high, or I guess low, on the stem, so that you have plenty of space to tie it. And I'll do 2 bundles like that, and then I'll show you what I do after that. Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. So hang on. So there's one bundle right there. Not too big. You don't want them to be huge bundles, because the point is that the air has to flow through it to dry the berries. So you want kind of mid-sized bundles. I figure nothing bigger than what I can fit in my hand around, and that so far has worked pretty well. So if that helps. Go. And I'm going to add a little bit more to this bundle because it's kind of skinny. Okie doke. So, I've got a little bit here. You just want to straighten out your bundle and kind of just make it, kind of straight and clean. Everything facing in one direction, definitely. And then you tie it. So I've got a piece of baling twine. It's just what I use for just about everything. And you just take the bundle and you just tie it around. Make it a pretty tight knot, because what's going to happen is as the stalks dry, they're going to shrink. And so you don't want your beautifully dried quinoa to end up on the ground, getting all dirty and eaten up. So you definitely want to make it pretty tight around the bundle stems. So what I do is I tie one, and then on the same string, I tie the other one. So what I end up with is this. 2 bundles on one rope. Now the reason I do this is basically just to save space in my drying racks. I have a couple different places I can dry things. Up at our barn we have some drying racks that for laying things on a flat surface. So like when we harvest grass, orchard grass, anything else kind of, long and stringy, I can throw it up onto those racks and it dries pretty well. Anything smaller and kind of more grainy, like this kind of stuff, I don't want to put on those because it'll just fall right through into the floor. What you want to do is either put a sheet under or on top of your drying rack so that the grain is on a solid surface, or you can leave it on the stalk and hang it up to dry. So like with amaranth, the other stuff that we grow here, amaranth, the grain falls out of the flower head really easily, and so I don't hang that one up to dry, because a slightest breeze or a bird landing on the drying stalk and then flying off will kind of shake it, and you'll lose a lot of grain. So I don't do hanging drying for stuff like amaranth. But for quinoa, like I was saying, the flower head is kind of like this little 5-pronged little grappling hook that hangs on to the berry inside, or to the grain inside. And it has a pretty tight hold, so that even when it dries, it loosens a little bit, but it still kind of cups it, and keeps the grain from just tumbling out at the slightest thing. You actually have to go in there and break it apart, which I'll show you guys. So anyway, so quinoa, most varieties of quinoa are safe to just hang up and dry like this, because you're not going to lose hardly any if you do it pretty carefully. All right, so I'm going to turn this way. Hi, John. Okay, so the 2 bunches, and I'm just putting one here, and I'm just hanging it. And I'll usually hang them kind of off center from each other. I'm not going to hang them like this, where they're parallel, because I feel like it kind of makes this kind of warm, moist area in the middle. So I usually hang them a little bit separate so that there's plenty of airflow between those 2. Now, let me show you what it looks like when it's dried. So all of this is going to stay up here for a couple of days. Like I said, I have 3 places to dry grain. I have my spot up at the barn. I have this like kind of arbor thing my husband built for my Thai long beans, and it kind of doubles. I grow my beans on one side and dry my quinoa on the other side. And then I also have in my garden shed a place to hang stuff. So my garden shed has 3 walls, and they're all half walls, so it's all open. And so it's really airy, lots of air, or lots of wind blowing through there, but also it's got a cover on top, so I don't have too many problems with like birds hanging out and leaving their little droppings everywhere. And so I took some nails and I just put them into the ceiling supports under the roof beams, and it made it so I can hang stuff to dry. So that's really nice right there. But right here, it's convenient. The amaranth, the quinoa is right there. Then I can just hang it up right here. So it's really nice to just keep it simple. But anyway, let me show you what happens after we let this dry for a bit. Okay, so this is what it looks like. No. So this is all dried. It's been here for about 3 days. I didn't need to leave it here that long, but it definitely is ready to be harvested. So what it looks like, there it is. It just gets really dry and kind of brown looking. And what you will do is just crunch it. And look at that, it just comes right off in your hand. And it's basically ready to winnow as soon as it's that crunchy. And so you just take it and kind of, I just run it through my hands just a little bit. And from there, you can see those grains are already visible. And then you just blow on it just a wee bit, and you can already see the grains are separating from the flower heads and from the sticks and everything else that's in there. So that means this grain is ready to winnow, and I'll probably get to this today, maybe if I finish everything else, if not tomorrow. And so it's ready to go, and that's a perfect time to get this. I mean, if I'm just feeding this to my chickens, I'm not even going to bother winnowing it that much. All I'm going to do is just kind of pull it off the stalk like I did, or I just crunched it in my hand, and I'm just going to put it in a feed bag, and the chickens can pick through it and do what they want. Now, if I'm doing grain for our own eating, then yes, I'm going to winnow it, and then before I actually prepare it for eating, I'll probably also wash it before I put it in the pot to cook, or at least rinse it once. So, different levels of kind of processing for different purposes, but the easy part about it is just getting it off the stalk is so simple and just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of sun, a little wind, a little rain. Well, hopefully no rain. Oh my gosh, not that it rains here in California anyway, ever. But yeah, so it's really simple, and it makes it really easy. I will say the only concern really that I have about hanging my stuff up outside are birds. So you do have to be kind of careful. Just keep an eye on the stuff that you have drying, and if you're getting a ton of bird poop on it, you could cover it with a sheet. You can take it inside to the barn or some other place that you have for drying. Yeah, I would probably do it with the sheet though first before I started moving it around too much. Especially if it's already dried. You don't want to move your quinoa too much, because then you start knocking stuff off and losing a few here and there. So the best thing to do is to just kind of keep an eye on what's going on and kind of fix as needed. Anyway, but yeah, so this is our process, guys, and hopefully we'll bring another video when we're actually winnowing and when we are bagging it up. So that's the end of the process there. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I hope this helps, and happy gardening. Bye.